Hello, everyone, and welcome back into the fantasy football universe. I am Aaron St. Dennis. Find me on Twitter or X or Twix, whatever they called it earlier. I heard that before. I'm like, Twix? Oh, Twitter and X. That's clever. Anyways, find me there, FF Mad Scientist. Next up, we have Jesse Moeller at jmoeller05, and down at the bottom where he belongs, Jeremy Showman at FF_Rebel. I give you so much shit.
All my Calvin Ridley shares.
Yeah, that's what it is. I will never forgive you for that. Thank you for tuning into the Fantasy Football Universe. Check us out over at fantasyfootballuniverse.com or pretty much on any social media, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Like, subscribe, comment if you can. We appreciate it. The comments, with the exception of the troll comments telling us how ugly or stupid we are. We don't respond to those, but we respond to everyone else pretty much. But we don't need to hear about how ugly and stupid we are. I have an ex-wife for that, so I don't need you guys to do that. But everything else within reason, we are here for. Just like the trade debates. We made this post about a week ago. I've seen some recent trades. And we're just going to kind of take a look here and see if we like them, see if we don't like them. I guess in the end, we're going to decide which side we prefer. I see Jack didn't blur this one out. It's funny. Some people blur them out. Some people don't. I am a big fan of I'm not blurring out anybody's names. If you made the trade, well, you deserve it. So if you don't like it, it's like those people who play online poker and they do stupid shit they wouldn't do in real life because you don't know who they are. Well, you made a trade. Your name's attached to it. So don't blur their name out. I appreciate that. So the first one we have here is from my friend Jack Lucine at Jack Lucine. Easy enough to Twitter to remember. He has the 2024 204 for Deontay Johnson. I know where I'm going with this one. I suspect I know where Jesse's going with this one. Are we all in agreement? This one is a smash, Deontay Johnson.
Smash.
I don't know if I necessarily it's a smash, but it's very much a win. Like that's a clear win. That's the way I would phrase it.
Yeah, I think in rookie drafts, right, you have we have to see where everything falls out, but it's like the 205, 206 really feels like where that tier falls off of those second or third tier, however you want to rank those wide receivers, and then the top probably 2 or 3 running backs. So at the 205, 206, as long as you're in that frame, so the 204 falls right there. I like it, but I agree. I want Deontay and all the targets coming his way.
Yeah, I think you could still get, like you said, one of the top 5 running backs, the second tier of receiver, but I don't know anyone in that group. If this is the 108, different story. But after 109, I don't think there's anyone from 109 to 210 that I like more than Deontay Johnson. But again, I'm a big believer in the, bird in the hands better than 2 in the bush. I'd rather the known commodity than, go with the FOMO, fear of missing out. So, Jack, I think for future reference, if you're going to make this trade, you should blur your own name out. I like Deontay on this one. I think we're unanimous. We like the Deontay side.
And we're assuming super flex, right?
Yeah.
I am. Some of these guys, they give context. Obviously, not every league. Or not all of them. I was assuming super flex.
Let's do that.
I think if it's not super flex, I think it's even worse by far. So we'll move on. We've got Dynasty Review at Dynasty Review HQ. I think they might have 2 here. They have the 103, 104 for Lamar. So this is the way I do it. I don't know about you guys. I assign my rankings here. So for me, this is Malik Neighbors and Jaden Daniels, I'm thinking, is something like that. I'm assuming Caleb and MHJ are off the board. So this is your QB2, wide receiver 2 is how I'm looking at it. Mm-hmm. I prefer Lamar Jackson. The only way I'm making this trade for Lamar is if it's the 101, 102, and I'm getting Harrison Jr. and Caleb. Other than that, there's no way I'm making this deal. How about you guys?
Yeah, I'm very much in on this deal. I do this is a premium price you are paying based on the capital that you're paying, the 103, 104. Those are premium assets. So you better be contending if you're making this move, because this move makes 0 sense outside if you're a contender. Because you're removing the risk, you're getting a very high floor in Lamar and a high ceiling. So in that situation, which we're in the context of, we'll say it's like a start 10, 12 teams, so like 140 starters. I'm fine with this move. It's just it's a pretty pricey pace for Lamar where he's
Which
at.
Which side is it you want?
I want Lamar. But if if I was rebuilding, I would be fine taking the rebuilding assets in this deal. So I think it's a win. But like, I could go either way with this deal depending on team build.
Yeah. This is like you said, I think this is a trade where it could be a win for both sides.
Mhm.
Assuming one side wants to get younger and one side is a contender, I could do it. But if you're telling me all deals that we're reviewing are neutral situation, I prefer the Lamar side because, like I said, I think Daniels and Neighbors, I think the drop off for me is from Caleb to Neighbors. I don't even know if it's that big of a drop off, but if you told me Caleb and MHJ for Lamar, that's different than Neighbors and Daniels. How about you, Jeremy?
Yeah, this one's really close, but I'll go with Lamar too. The one, a bit of cold water that I'll throw on this is Lamar Jackson is 27 years old. For quarterbacks, that usually doesn't matter. However, for elite rushing quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson, it's going to matter a little bit. At some point in the next 3 years, you have to imagine that rushing ability is going to start to decline. How he transitions now, I think he's fully capable of transitioning, but how he transitions and how that relates to how he scores fantasy points will be interesting. They're going to have to build a significant passing offense around him for him to stay at that elite level. So it's a premium price. You have him for a couple years, no doubt, at his elite rushing upside, but it's just something to consider now as he ages.
They have another one here. It is JSN for Downs and a 2025 second. I've seen a lot of people trading for Downs. I'm not a big fan. I think the Colts draft someone else. This is different. I don't even think if it's a 2024 second, I still don't take the deal. But 2025, I want nothing to do with. That's a second rounder, too far out. Give me JSN. I think JSN's better than both. What do you think? We'll start with Jeremy, I guess. JSN or Downs in a second?
Apparently, based on the people I've talked to, I'm pretty high on JSN still. I know that we didn't love his rookie season, but he had a lot of flashes in there. There's a lot we can explain away. Now there's a new offensive mind in there. Jesse's got his full Washington group in Seattle now, ready to run it back. We'll see what it looks like this season, but long-term dynasty, I want JSN by a good margin here. I don't think it's a smash, but I'll take JSN side for sure.
Yeah, I'm on board with this as well. My whole thought process with JSN is I'm using him to tier up, and it's a hell of a lot easier to tier up with JSN than it is Downs in a second.
True.
JSN's going in like the 6th of startup. Downs is going in like the 10th. So that second, like that's a real cheap way to move up, basically 4 rounds of startup value. So yeah, I would much prefer to get a more premium asset that I can move off of JSN later on, because it's a lot harder to sell Downs, especially if they draft a wide receiver in Indianapolis, which like seems like it's a very realistic possibility.
Yeah,
people are so impatient; they give up on JSN so quickly, which I understand. But like you said, if I'm giving up on JSN, I'm going to give up on him for a proven rookie, not someone who's arguably in a worse situation and has proven even less. Like, I believe JSN was better last year. Next up, we've got Average Joe's _FF. This is a big one. Assuming Superflex here. I don't think he says. Nope. Josh Allen, Rashee Rice, and the 109 for CJ Stroud and the 104. Who wants to start?
I'll take the Allen side. I'm still in on Rice. Like, he's very much dropping in dynasty value, but I think he's a good player, so he's the guy I'm targeting. The drop from 104 to 109 is like, I'm making that up with the points per game I'm getting from Allen to Stroud. So like, I'm fine going this deal. If you're ever tearing down, like we're talking about the 107 and then you tear down to like the 109, if you're doing that, you better be getting upgraded the quarterback position. And I know we love CJ Stroud, but I'm a big Josh Allen. Like, he's QB1. He outscored him by a ton. He's going to outscore him again this year. So on a points per game basis, like, this type of deal makes sense. And you're getting Rice thrown in for the package. So overall, yeah, like, I want QB1 Josh Allen.
I think for me, that's the difference, because I have Stroud over Allen, but it's close. For me, the difference is, okay, the one thing that does scare me is this is the 109. If this is the 108, I like it a whole lot better. I think the 109 is that cliff. But for me, the difference between 104 to that cliff pick at 109, Rashee Rice makes up the difference. And I feel like this is someone who panicked when they seen arrest warrant. So as much as I like Stroud and as much as I don't like being off the 108 pick, Rashee Rice bridges the difference here. So I think I'm taking the Allen side as well.
I don't hate it, but for me, I just love CJ Stroud. I love what he was able to do in the first year. I don't think Ben Slowick sticks around long term, right? He's going to get a head coaching job probably next year. So we'll see what that transition looks like, but he's well set up to kind of figure it out. Josh Allen, I think there's a slight downtick, but yes, he's going to score points. Rashee Rice, I've been off of for a while. I just think they're going to draft someone anyway. And really just with all this news, it's a huge concern. Drew Davenport, who was talking to you, Aaron, yesterday, believes it's not a huge concern and it should be resolved before the season, maybe resulting in just a couple of games and a slap on the wrist, nothing else. Even still, I think they bring someone else in. And the 104, you're talking about probably Malik Neighbors. You can get Jesse's favorite wide receiver of all time, Rome Odunze, at the 104 versus the 109. Who are we talking about? Neighbors, running mate Brian Thomas, Xavier Worthy. I think that's a massive difference between talent and skill. I'm going to go Stroud here.
I was on Chuck Bass's show yesterday, and he had the best tweet regarding the Rashee Rice situation. He said we had video evidence of Alvin Kamara playing Dance Dance Revolution on someone's face, and he only got 4 games. So how much do you really think Rashee Rice is going to get? I love that. That was awesome. Next up, we are going to Tim. Got another CJ Stroud trade here, and another Lamar. So we've got CJ for Lamar and the 202. Personally, for me, I love Lamar, but I'm really high on CJ, and I don't think I want the 202. For me, this has got to be 108 or higher to make this trade down. I know some people are going to disagree and think this isn't even a trade down, but I see he's my QB1 in Dynasty, so I don't think the 202, which is, again, in that cluster of 10 or 12 players that are all valued the same. I prefer CJ here, but that's me being super high on CJ. How about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I'll take the Lamar side. I'm totally fine with this. They're same tier for me. So if you're going to throw at me the 202, I don't mind. I have CJ Stroud, QB3. Like, he's the first guy in that range, but, like, it's a pretty wide range to QB8 where we have, like, Anthony Richardson and Caleb. So, like, anybody in that range where I call it tier 2 quarterbacks, if I'm getting a plus to move up, but just because, like, I don't know the ceiling with CJ Stroud. And that's my biggest concern. We're valuing him like he's going to be a 25-point per game, like, fantasy asset, and I just don't see that. So I'll take Lamar, who's going to give me, around 20-ish points a game and be fine with it and get the 202. It's just, like, I think we're kind of, like, overvaluing CJ Stroud. And I know, like, you talk about if he's your QB1. If he is your QB1, then, yeah, I'm fine paying this price either way. But where I have them, I'll take the Lamar side.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I think right now he's my QB2. He is my QB2. And the thing is, you're talking about 25 points per game. Well, he was pretty much doing that all last season, right? Now you add Stephon Diggs. I don't think Stephon Diggs does much for that connection one-to-one. I think Stephon Diggs helps kind of spread the field, make the defense have someone else to worry about. We have Dalton Schultz back in the mix. We have capable receiving backs, theoretically. I mean, Devin Singletary wasn't a world beater, right? So, I just really like the direction of this offense. They're going to spread it around. CJ Stroud showed that ability, and they have depth at the wide receiver position. So, yeah, this is a close one, but I'm going Stroud.
I think the theme here in the 2 Stroud trades have been it all comes down to whether you're all in on Stroud or not. Me and Jeremy have gone Stroud because we both are really super high on Stroud. Jesse's a little more moderate in his love for Stroud, and he went the other way. So
he's 22 years old. CJ Stroud.
He's very, very good. Like, I don't want to come off that I hate CJ Stroud. I think he's an incredible.
No, I didn't say you hate it. You're a little more realistic. Like, I have him at 1. Jeremy has him at 2. You said what, 4 or 5?
He's my QB3, but, like, it's a tier. Like, he's not touching Mahomes. He's not touching Allen for me.
All right. Next up, another one from Tim. We have Anthony Richardson and the 203. Again, we'll assume Superflex for Debo, Puka, and Stafford. I love Puka, but I think this one is Richardson in the 203 for me. Not a big fan of the 203, but I'm not a big Debo fan. I don't think Stafford has that much left. Assuming, like I said, this is a QB, a Superflex QB league, I just want Richardson, even if it costs me Puka. I think Richardson's just awesome. Where do you guys fall on this one?
You want to take it, Jeremy?
No, because I'm looking at my rankings.
Okay. All right, yeah, I'll talk about it. So the way I look at this is Anthony Richardson's a ticket to getting a truly elite quarterback in Superflex leagues, and that is entirely valuable. And I love Puka. Puka is basically an early second-round starter pick for me. Anthony Richardson's the 107. So, like, you're basically what you're doing is you're jumping up. You're paying the premium cost of Debo, who's like a 6th-round starter pick, and then you're throwing in, like, the back end, like, round 10-ish. Those dart throw late round, Aaron Rodgers, those type of quarterbacks into this deal. But you're buying a ticket to Richardson because if it hits the ceiling, it far outweighs anything else. Like I love Puka. Like, even if he goes peak Justin Jefferson, the quarterback value of what he could do for a team, like it still outweighs that. So like I'm totally aboard Anthony Richardson train. As
But
sucks as it
that kind of proves the point because Jefferson, going into not this year's Jefferson, he's got a little less value with Cousins, but last year, seeing how Jefferson, he was the 101 for non-superflex, 1 QB.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't have got any of the top 5 QBs for him in a superflex league. Even with him being the highest ranked position player, no one's going to give you Allen, Hurts, Mahomes, any of those guys straight up. Like you couldn't have got Lamar, Burrows. So I just think, like you said, if Richardson hits, there's no way anyone's giving you Puka or giving you Richardson for Puka, even if Puka repeats his year.
Yeah, it's values. And I will say, if you want to play the war game, like you could talk about Puka and how valuable his war is, but like that gets a little bit into the weeds for a lot of people. So I'll just keep it surface level.
Yeah, I was originally on the bottom side there. I think Stafford can do it twice. But I'm not that high on Puka. He's my wide receiver 12. I'm high enough. But I know a lot of people have him in their top 6, top 5, right? He's up there for most people. I don't know. Historic seasons, I'm going to bet against him kind of repeating that. And Debo, I'm not a huge fan of, but Richardson, that's banking a lot on what he's going to do for that team. He showed it in a couple of small spurts last season. The 203 I don't love. So I'll call this even. I'll go with you guys, Richardson, but it's not by much.
Next up, we've got at St. Patrick FF. We have one side is Mike Evans, Justin Herbert, and the 312. The other side is Jameson Williams, Anthony Richardson. So we have Richardson again, and the 212. So JMO, Richardson, and the 210 for Evans, Herbert, and the 312. This one's a lot to unpack. I like to break it down position for position here. Give me Richardson easily. I think this is a wash. Evans, if you're in a must-win right now, I think JMO is being undervalued. I think there's lots of potential. And then the pick, obviously. So for me, this comes down to the difference between Evans and Williams is not enough to bridge the gap for Richardson and Herbert. Add in the pick upgrade, and I'm taking the Richardson side. How about you? I don't know, Jeremy?
I think what we saw with the last deal and this deal here, we got a clear win now team and a clear team that's kind of rebuilding here and going for youth. I don't mind it either way. I'll go the Evans side just because he's got a clear year, maybe 2 years of top production. He's going to be a threat in the red zone. Herbert, I think he's being undervalued because of whatever we think Jim Harbaugh is bringing to the table there in Los Angeles. I don't love the 312 as compared to the 210. That's tough, but Jameson Williams doesn't move the needle for me on the other side anymore. So give me Evans.
Yeah. Jameson Williams, what we call a hole. Like he has value. People think he has value, but he gives you no value to your team once you roster him. He's just a black hole on your roster. So I could give a flying what about Jameson Williams. If anybody tries to package him in the 210 for Evans, I'm gonna tell him kick rocks. Like get out of here. I think it's to your point, like Herbert's undervalued. So I'll take the Herbert side just because he's solidly in that tier 2. Like we know he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. They're gonna figure out that offense. I get it. It sounds ugly, but he will be just fine. So yeah, I'll take that side.
If you pass on saying the F word again to say, you're on fucking timeout. We don't do that kind of fucking shit around here. What is this, fucking Disney? What is this, Disney?
Like and subscribe, everyone. Like and subscribe.
Fucking like and subscribe.
Hey,
all right,
next, here.
We have at IDP Hunter up next. We have this is an IDP one. This is gonna be. I was like T Bernard. What the hell? So we've got Bernard and Walker on one side. Zach Moss, the 190. Oh, this has got to be So what's this? Did he say this? 32 team league. I'm not sold on Zach Moss keeping the starter role, even though he's listed there ATM. Think Chase Brown may take it, which is completely on board with what I'm thinking. So we've got Walker and Bernard for Moss, the 19, 219, and 220. This is a lot to unpack. I think in the end, I want Walker here. I'm going to take the high-end player in the 32-team league over whatever's going to be available down here. A potential backup running back. Bernard, he's good, but I don't know. Like I said, so I think the best two assets are this side here. So give me Walker and Bernard over a potential backup running back, and who knows what the hell's available there.
So in an IDP league, the 119 is not a bad pick at all. Like that's a very solid, good player in the rookie class. But yeah, overall, like it's a massive upgrade going from Zach Moss, who I like, to Ken Walker, who's a good starting running back. So I'll take the top side of this deal. Like I get it. I'm in a 32 team league. It's chaos. IDP league. My mind would be blown.
I'm not in a 32 team IDP league. I feel like I should because I feel like that. No, I feel like that helps because 32 team league of offense only, it gets real thin real quick. I feel like actually having IDP players because like this is, you know what the 119 is in a rookie draft that's only offense this year? It's nothing. It's crap.
It's not great.
But you add in an additional 10 high-end IDP guys, and suddenly it's probably a first-round pick in a regular Superflex draft. So what do you call Jeremy?
Yeah, it could be Jared Verse, right? I mean, for me, if my defense is really depleted, I might take a shot on the picks, but no, it's got to be Walker all day. I want the higher-end asset, unless my team is just absolute trash. I need to completely throw it in the bin and rebuild.
You see what happened there, right? He studied one IDP rookie and had to name drop there to prove he knew someone. Jared Verse.
You want Dallas Turner's going to be going before the 119. What do you want from me?
Oh, he knows two guys. Holy shit.
We're cruising, folks.
Jeremy's at home studying this, man.
Come on,
look
bro.
at that.
We're all right.
He said, "Don't question me."
All right, moving on. We've got Ryan Pros _FF. Tank Dell on one side, Hollywood, Tyjae Spears, and the 404. I think as scary as it sounds, I'm taking Tank Dell because it's, trading 3 nickels. Oh, I can't use that analogy. 3 nickels for $1. I was going to say a loony, but you guys aren't Canadian and don't know what that is.
Y'all funny money up there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways, it comes down to give me Tank Dell. He's the higher end asset.
Yeah, they've been talking about Tennessee. How
did you say "A," you motherfucker?
Hey, in Tennessee, they've been constantly talking about how they're going to split the work between Spears and Pollard. We have no idea how it's going to play out. They want both those guys on the field a lot. It's going to be a nuisance for fantasy. So yeah, I really don't want either one of those guys to be a starting asset on my team. I love Hollywood Brown. I think he's going to be good, but you're getting a lot younger. You're removing. I know he's coming off an injury. But Hollywood Brown has dealt with injuries his entire career. I think he's a bigger risk for injury than Tank Dell, which sounds weird. So I'll just take the young, good, proven asset Tank Dell.
Yeah, I want Hollywood. I think he's going to outproduce Dell fairly easily this season. I think it's likely he outproduces him 2 years from now. And then if Tyjae just happens to fall into, flex-worthy weekly production, this is a massive win. I love Tank Dell. He's just buried, and it's just going to be, unfortunately, it's going to be hit or miss week to week on what he produces.
You just took that side because you think at the 404 you can get Ben Sinnott, didn't you? That's what just happened there, right?
Let's go, Ben Sinnott.
Yeah, that's all he did. He said that pick could be Ben Sinnott. I'm in. I don't care who's.
I'm so baby. Give
Josh Allen. I don't care. I can get Ben Sinnott at the 404. Give me
Jeremy a picture of Ben Sinnott. You can have in the background. Just point to him. Ben Sinnott.
I'll print out his face and just wear a Ben Sinnott mask. That actually sounds really creepy when I say it out loud. But,
It'll be great. It'll be great.
No, it's pretty creepy. All right. Next up at Dynasty Decode, we have the 201 and next year's third for Nick Chubb. I want the 201 for Nick Chubb straight up. Yeah. What's he, 29, almost 30, coming off a knee injury. I think most of this season, we've seen the first year back off of those knee injuries, almost useless. So you're banking on his 30-31 season being good. I get he's Nick Chubb, but I'd rather take my shot at whatever wide receiver rookie I can get at the 201. I don't even care about the third. Nick Chubb, I could be proven completely wrong. He could be Adrian Peterson and come back and have a career year. The odds are just so long that it happens. It's like with J.K. Dobbins. Dobbins is younger, and granted, it's his second one, but I don't want to mess around with these injuries. Give me the 201, and I'm just going to hope that, Blake Corum or Benson, I can get Jalen Wright there. Give me Jalen Wright straight up for Nick Chubb. What do you think, Jesse?
Yeah. Why are we paying this premium for Nick Chubb right now? What are you doing? Seriously, this is a terrible decision. You're taking on so much risk, and then you're throwing a third on top of it. Is this Nick Chubb's best friend? I don't understand this deal.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why they're paying the premium, because news came out today or yesterday that Nick Chubb, his contract is restructured. So, the team believes in him and he'll be around. And
I don't understand.
It's a home league that values names is what it's got to be, right?
These are the guys you mentioned, Dobbins, Chubb and Dobbins. For me, once they had those injuries, I refer to them as dynasty dead. I am just trying to get them off my roster because it's going to be a year at least or more after they return, like you said, before they're back to full strength. And, at Nick Chubb's advanced stage, no chance. Give me the 201 by a landslide.
Yeah, if you want to throw the late, like 212, like I get it. But this is a massive difference from the 201 to the 212 in value and picks. So like I would love to hear the rationale behind this deal because you're just taking out so much risk doing this.
We don't even love the 201. We've been, very well stated that it's kind of a cluster after. Mm-hmm. Oh, and I just passed on saying the F word. It's a clusterfuck after the 108.
You fucked up.
So, yeah. All right, let's see what we got next here. We've got at Paul_Ryan15. I was on this show last night with these guys. One side is, we'll say Superflex. Oh, sorry, Superflex tight end premium, best ball with scoring bonuses, dynasty. Best ball, yikes. Okay, so we got Baker, this year's 110 and this year's 201 for Kelsey, Barkley, and Debo. This to me seems like rebuilding side, contending side. Am I correct?
Yeah.
100%.
I don't even know where I don't know if I have a way to break this down other than if I'm the contending team, I want the Baker side. If I'm going for it, if I'm the rebuilding team, I want Baker. If I'm contending, I want Kelsey. Because if you told me, okay, let's look at it this way. We agree that on those two sides, if you're a neutral script here, what side are you taking it in absolute neutral field here?
You can go, Jeremy.
Sorry. I'm going with Baker. I mean, I don't believe that was a fluke. I think he's just in a great situation. I know Canales is gone and took a lot of that staff with him. But Baker and the 110, you have two high-end receiving assets here. Barkley, I think, is going to smash year one, maybe even his second year in Philly. But Kelsey is on the decline. Debo, I'm not super high on. Even though he's been great, he's a monster. It's just you never know which way the ball is going to roll in San Francisco. So in a neutral script, I think it's close, but give me Baker and the picks.
Yeah, with the startup values and tight end premium, like Baker and Kelsey are kind of even, which sounds ridiculous thing to say right now, but that's where they're at. Barkley, he's a little bit more valuable than the 110. Debo, he's like late first. So overall, the value, I prefer the older guys, but like if you're rebuilding, I get it. I'd take that side too. I just, with best ball and stuff, it's very difficult. Like you just want to accumulate as much picks and take as much chances with players as possible. So like, I get that mindset too.
Neutral build in best ball, I think I prefer the upside on Kelsey, Barkley, Debo, as opposed to Baker and two rookies. Superflex, it also, like I said, it comes down to what are his other options at QB as well. So this one we probably need to see more. So like I said, for Dynasty League, I think this one comes down to, are you a rebuilding team or are you a contending team? And there's no real answer other than that.
Yeah.
Next up, we have, that's me tagging you guys. Then we have at Dynasty DG. We have, some Steelers here. Najee and the 302 for Deontay Johnson and the 307. Give me a barf bag. Yeah, I like the positional scarcity for Najee. I don't like Najee, so give me Deontay. I don't know. I don't like this at all.
That's exactly what I was going to say about it. Is we know that the RB class is not highly touted coming into the league this year. Buying up veteran RBs like Najee Harris. That's a move I've been making this offseason. I bought a couple of shares of Najee. I think he's in for a good workload. It's not going to be super efficient, but it'll be productive and the volume should be there. And with all that said, give me the Deontay Johnson side.
Yes. I struggle to see the upside for Najee. Like that's the one thing I struggle with as long as Jaylen Warren's there. Like he's going to be handcuffing and just cutting him in. Where Deontay, he's going to get fed targets. So there's a path to upside, which he was a top 12 wide receiver a few years ago. Like we're hoping he gets back to there. I don't think it's the most likely thing, but there's that. I don't see Najee Harris with that offense and Russell Wilson, all the issues they have. Like I don't see him being a top 12 running back this year. I think he's RB2, RB3. So yeah, give me the upside with Deontay. I don't care about 302, 307. Just throw him out there, whatever.
You know what Jeremy did there, right? He was going to take Najee in the 302, and then he looked at the ADP for rookie drafts and realized he could still get Ben Sinnott at 307 and said, fuck, give me Deontay because I could still get Sinnott. He was only taking Najee because he thought Sinnott was going at the 305.
If
So.
Ben Sinnott goes to the Patriots, I'm gonna be insufferable on Twitter. I swear to God.
I'm not gonna lie. Ben Sinnott doesn't need to go to the Patriots for you to be insufferable. With Arthur Smith as OC, you never know what RB will get fed. This is
that is fair.
Didn't they just add a second tight end to the roster too? I forget who it was. But the
we all
first
know
they brought in one of his former tight ends, didn't they? Who the hell was it?
Cordarrelle Patterson is back, baby. He's in Pittsburgh.
Johnny's in Miami.
Yeah, I don't know who else they brought in.
Okay.
Good luck figuring out that offense.
FF_Schmuck says he moved Mixon for Ramondre, 206 and 306.
Yeah.
Take the package. I like it.
Yeah. I was gonna say if I'm a win now, I'd take Mixon, but I think even in a win now, I'd still prefer Ramondre. I think Mixon outproduces Ramondre. I'm low on Ramondre, but give me, as Jeremy likes to say, give me the package.
I love to say, give me the package. In this case, Ramondre, he's the RB24 by consensus. I think that's on Fantasy Pros. I think that's too low. I think the volume's going to be there. Antonio Gibson doesn't scare me in terms of threatening his volume load. He's going to be more package dependent. We don't know what they're doing at quarterback. And Mixon will outproduce Ramondre, yes, but I still think Ramondre's value is too low right now.
Next up, we have at FF_litigator, who is a sociopath. Why? Rookie draft is held pre-NFL draft. You fucking psycho. Who does that? You psycho. Get help. Get help. Okay. Back on target here. 101, so Caleb, and the 209, so Ben Sinnott for Lamar Jackson. This one's interesting because it gets you Caleb. I feel like if you're the rebuilding team, you take the 101 and the 209. Otherwise, it's Lamar. But I don't know. Is 101 and 209 enough? I think you've got to have – this has got to be, for me, the 101 and another top 8 pick for Lamar.
Or 201. Or 201. I want Lamar here.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I mean,
unless you're rebuilding, maybe.
Yeah, you're taking on a lot of risk by doing the 101 because as great as we think Caleb's going to be, we still don't know if he's how good he's going to be, even though the situation everything's great. You know what you have in Lamar. He's not old, he's very good. So yeah, I still prefer Lamar. That could shift though. 2 weeks into the season, if Caleb hits, we can move on.
You want to talk risk? Not only is he taking the risky rookie picks, he's taking them not knowing when or where they're going. Pre-draft.
Hey, I'm all for getting your guys. If you have faith in Caleb and this, then go make the deal.
I just mean this is a risk on top of a risk. This is risky if you did it after the NFL draft and you know exactly where everyone's going. Like that guy at 209, this could be, you could have someone who ends up being a running back who gets selected in the second round, or he could go undrafted. You don't know. I
think he just has guys he likes. So at the 209, he's just gonna take a shot. I think he has 101 and Lamar on the same tier is my guess. So he's basically just getting the extra pick.
Yeah.
Pats are trading up to the 101. Caleb Williams coming to New England. Let's go.
Well, can you imagine making this trade and then he goes to New England?
Yeah, crazy, right?
Yeah, you become a Pats fan, and that's something.
All right. We have next at Bro Pranalol, Superflex 10 team, half PPR dynasty, 101 for the 106, 203, 205. So that would be your choice of QB3 or wide receiver 3 and 2 guys out of the mystery bag.
101.
In a 10 teamer, I want the high end asset. Mm-hmm. This is just not enough for me because, like I said, these two are 2 grab bag guys. Okay, I guess 203. So that would be in a 10 teamer. They're basically early second round picks, but still, give me the 101.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. Because you're going to from round 1 startup pick, you're going to a round 4 startup pick, and then you're dropping into round 10 and round 13. So does that value add up for you if you're doing this trade? That's my whole issue. The value does not add up. So I would want more if I'll show you where the 101.
Agreed. Real Matt Mormon. We have a lot. Tank Dell, the 109 and the 110 for Jonathan Taylor. I think based on the fact, once again, that it's the 109 and 110, I'm taking Taylor. If this is the 105 and the 106, I think it's a different story, but I know it's positional scarcity. You're taking Dell. Do you guys think 100%. So? That's enough?
Yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
those. I have Dell and Taylor like basically back to back in my ranking. So if you're gonna throw me 2 first-round picks on top of that, like I'm smash accepting that.
I don't know if I have any confidence in the end of the first round is the problem here.
Do this. Let's say Jonathan Taylor's your only running back. Sell him and then take 2 running backs at the 109 and 110,
Yeah.
and you get a Tank Dell on top. Yeah, for me, it's the Dell side all day.
Yeah,
But I mean, okay, so who are our top 2 we had in consensus? Brooks and Benson as 1 and 2?
Or Lloyd.
Well, whoever, just like
Okay,
whichever
well,
guy you
well,
Lloyd in a great spot. I mean, it doesn't matter. Whoever the top 2 end up being.
Okay, but so
whatever.
say it's Corum in the second round to the Chargers and Brooks in the second round to the Cowboys. Probably 2 best case scenarios.
Let's fucking go.
Oh,
I love that.
I don't know. I guess I see what you're saying here, but I still think the best player is Taylor out of the 3.
He is.
He is. I'm not arguing with that. This is ridiculous value you're getting. Like what you could do with those picks and how you could package those in the other assets. Like say you have like AJ Brown, you could tier up from him to Justin Jefferson with this deal. You could like upgrade to the tight end. Like there's a lot of things you could do with these picks. You don't have to take the players. Like that's my whole issue. Like use them to upgrade other positions. Like there's ways to work this where you can come out a massive winner in this deal.
Yeah, and right now Taylor's value is at its peak. We're expecting him to absolutely smash. I'm expecting him to smash with Richardson behind center, but that might not happen, right? The offensive line's a little bit older. They could decline. Taylor's a little bit older. You know, how much longer can he maintain his value as a running back? You get an elite young wide receiver and then 2 later first round rookie picks.
Okay, we're assuming this is super flex. If this is 109, 110 in single QB, is that changing it to you? Because then it becomes you're not getting the top 2 running backs. You're probably getting second tier running back, third tier receiver. Suddenly, are you then taking Taylor?
Maybe.
I still take the Dell side.
Maybe. It depends how badly I need a running back. And usually I need them badly. So I would pivot to Taylor in that case.
I'm not taking a running back at 109, 110 anyway. So like I don't really care about that. But yeah, like if we're doing that, sure.
Next, we have at Dank Moody, side 1, Pickens, CJ Stroud again. Pickens, Stroud in the 207 for Devontae and Allen. For me, Allen and Stroud is pretty much a wash. I give this slight nod to Stroud, but we'll call it a wash. So it becomes, do you want Pickens and the 207 or Devontae? I'm not high on Pickens, but I'm still taking Pickens in the 207 over Devontae, who I think is teetering very near to the edge of that cliff we've seen D-Hop go over, what was it, last year, the year before. So this is more about me not believing there's much left in Devontae than it is me believing Pickens is. I think he's probably a low-end wide receiver too. What do you guys think?
I mean, if it's Minshew, right, Devontae Adams is capable, but it's a concern. If it's AOC or Bo Nix or whoever, you're still concerned there.
Michael Penix is the one I'm hearing.
I love Devontae Adams,
but,
and I'm down on Pickens compared to where everyone else wants to put him high up. But I'll take the Stroud side a little bit here as well.
Yeah, I'm taking the Allen side, but the value side is going to be on the Stroud and Pickens. Like what you could do with that is you can work a lot better to your advantage. But personally, like I think Allen's an upgrade, and I think Adams is just an upgrade from Pickens on points per game basis. So like I'll do those 2. But if you want to play the value game, take the package.
For the third time, it's come down to 2 of us really like Stroud, and 1 of us is slightly lower, because that was the difference. You said you think Allen is the upgrade on Stroud. Mm-hmm. I think Stroud is the upgrade on Allen, and Jeremy, I think, is either higher on Stroud or at least calls it a wash.
Yeah, and I'm even saying the value side's on the other side. That's just I just prefer the other guy. So like if take
your love for Devontae, Jesse, knows no bounds.
Those are 2 guys I love. Like, what do you want me to do here? I can't help myself. I'm like, oh yeah, baby, let's go. He had 171 targets last year, folks. 171.
We've got civil food fights up next. Tony Pollard, Jordan Addison, a 4th next year, a 4th in 2026 for Barkley, and a 2025 second. So I'm going to break this down. We've got Pollard and Addison for Barkley, and then some pick swaps that I think probably, would we say a 4th and a 4th in 2 years kind of cancels out a second. I think I prefer the second slightly, but
a lot.
So in the end, for me, it comes down to Pollard and Addison for Barkley, because this doesn't move the needle huge for me either way. So what do you guys think?
I get the love for Jordan Addison, but he's the second target on his team for the next 10 years. Like
no Kirk Cousins either. So
Saquon Barkley for me, this is exactly the type of move that I'm making to get myself an elite running back. So I don't need to rely on these rookie running backs in this class. Trade up from Pollard to Barkley. The fourth I don't care about. Addison, I get the value there, but give me Barkley.
Yeah, the startup value, Addison and Barkley in a very similar range. So we'll say those guys are even. It really just depends on if you want to pay a second for Pollard, which I'm fine doing that if you want to do that. And this was come down to. If I'm rebuilding, I'm definitely taking the Addison side because Saquon Barkley is old. So at some point, like that clip's going to come. If he struggles this year, his value is going to just destroy and just drop. So like obviously we think he's going to smash and all of that. I'm just saying there's more risk on this Barkley side than it leads on to. So like if I'm rebuilding, I'm taking the Addison side, but contending, give me Barkley.
I think I'm taking Barkley regardless. If I took the Addison side as a rebuild, it would be with the intention to flip Addison, I think. I'm not all that high on Addison, but that could change, if they get a much better, like if we get JJ goes there and it proves he's a stud, it could change it. But okay, 2025 second might be slightly less than what a 2024 second would be. We don't know what Addison will do with no Kirk being the third target. Pollard will have a Tajay issue.
Wait. Why is Addison the third target?
Hawkinson.
The ghost of Hawkinson who's not playing this year?
Yeah, Hawkinson, we don't. That's another one. He was.
Yeah. Let's pump the break. I get it. We're trying to sell Addison, but he's a good wide receiver.
But this next point from SC is exactly how I feel about it. You can flip Barkley.
Oh, that was the best. That's the best part of the show I've seen. Let's just leave that.
There's a talking image down there. I don't know.
You can also flip Barkley.
Yeah, like they're both that, like Barkley's in that 106 to 110 range. Addison's right there too, value wise. So like they're the same thing. Like it's just build.
All right. Next up, we have guy from my work league, Trey Conda 72. He has Waddle and a third for Diggs. Give me the Waddle side. I would have taken Waddle straight up. The third doesn't really move the needle. I guess even if I'm in an ultra win now, I think I'd probably rather Waddle. They're in the same range for me this year alone. So
look at the date on this deal. This is fucking December. This is not a recent deal. What are we doing here, folks?
Well, he got in on peak Diggs.
Oh, he did. I didn't even notice that. He sent it to me on my Twitter, and I didn't even notice when it was from.
I was like, dog, what are you doing?
Well, that is how we sell high on Stephon Diggs.
That is how you do it.
Oh, that's my boss. He sold it to my boss.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, and a Happy New Year.
Yes, I hope you had a Merry Christmas, Trey. All right. I'm bullish on Dulcich. I don't think I never thought I'd utter those words on this show, and while I like Shakir, words I also thought I'd never utter on this show, his value will drop when the Bills inevitably get another wide receiver. Dulcich, what are we doing? Okay, Dulcich, Hudson, or Shakir? Give me the Shakir side just because I think he's the only one who even has any hope of having any value whatsoever, and I don't think he has any value whatsoever.
Yeah, the Broncos have been linked to a lot of tight ends in their visits. And you know who's someone they brought in? Brock Bowers. You better be careful because if Brock Bowers goes there, see you later, Greg Dulcich. Yeah, I'll take the Shakir side, but like I want no part of either one of these guys, to tell you the truth. I'm trying to flip all of these guys for anything. So if you give me two assets, I can move to those assets. Sure, I'll take the Shakir side.
Shakir's a guy I want to sell right now before Buffalo inevitably drafts someone in the first round. And it's like, oh yeah, he's not going to be the guy.
And not that it matters at all, but is Tanner Hudson even on a team right now? I think the answer
that's got to be like a third.
He has returned. He has re-signed with the Bengals. So
that's right.
Who cares?
Who did the Bengals bring in? They brought in someone, didn't they? Was it Gesicki? I don't remember.
No.
Let's look up the roster real quick.
I don't remember.
Let's see.
Oh,
this got to be a 32-team league, right?
Yeah, they brought in Gesicki. It's Sample, Gesicki, and Hudson.
Lovely opportunity last season and didn't take it. If they drafted tight end, you lost. Yeah, I don't think this.
I mean,
this is not going to decide your league one way or another.
Agree.
Sean Payton does not like Greg Dulcich. That's very clear. Like that's the one thing that's very clear.
He looks like Weird Al. How can you not like him?
Dude, the guy's not a bad receiver, man.
12-team PPR Superflex start. 10, 3 wide receiver. Evans and Cuppert, Will Levis. I get the trading receivers for a quarterback. This ain't it. Give me the two receivers. I don't care if they are 100 combined. Give me the two receivers. I don't care.
Listen, I'm not a Will Levis guy, but he is set up, right? So if Will Levis is going to be anything, we're going to know immediately. Those are two old wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
So what
I
you're
know what you
telling
want
me?
to do. You know you want to do it.
By
I get
week
it,
one,
but I'm
I'm
going
gonna
wide
know what.
I didn't hear you. I get it, but I'm going with the wide receivers.
I'm taking
Yeah,
Levis. I'm taking the upside that Levis presents. Like we look back in the 4 months from now, he could be like 7 rounds above these guys on startup value. Like he could literally, he's the ticket up to the elite guys. Like I know we don't like, I hate Will Levis. I want nothing to do with him. But the actual like this is the golden ticket type scenario. We're talking about Willy Wonka. That's how you get there. You don't get there with Evans and Cup. You get there with Will Levis. So like if you need a quarterback, I'm totally fine making this bet. This is like people who made a bet on Jordan Love last year, same type of stuff, right? You take that bet now and hope it pays off. It might blow up in your face, but the cost really it's Evans and Cup. Like I like Evans, I like Cup, but like it's not that high. So yeah, I'll take the Levis side.
What round in a startup draft, 12-team Superflex startup draft, what round would you see a CFL quarterback being selected?
Whoa. Will Levis is going in the 5th round right now, so there you go.
Will Levis will not be on any of my teams in 2024. That's
agreed. All right.
Price younger. Price
At Football Fantasy, we've got Kirk Pittman and the 404 for the 109. That's not even close. I'm smashing this side.
I love it.
This has got to be a look at the trade I robbed someone for, so I'm shit talking now, right? Because I don't think I'd take Kirk over the 109. I'd take Pittman over the 109. The only thing I'd rather the 109 is over the 404. But like,
wait, you take Kirk over the 109?
Yeah, not for me.
No way. No way.
Sure. I would. Yeah.
I would
Well,
not.
the 109 is what? Troy Franklin, Brian Thomas Jr., running back 1. Give me Kirk.
Right, but the way I'm looking at the 109 is like there's so much more upside than there is with Christian Kirk. Like that's the whole game we're playing with these picks. So like you don't even have to like a player. It's if you hit on that player, the value massively out exceeds Christian Kirk. But yeah, Pittman's worth more than the 109. So I don't know what the fuck we're doing here.
Yeah. Pittman's my wide receiver 13. Let's go. Kirk, I love. Yeah, so give me the wide receivers.
At Jeffro_Bean, Addison or the 202? This one's got to be Addison, right? Like I'm not huge on Addison, but the 202 is too far down. I think it's got to be a top 8 pick to even consider this.
What? Like why would someone re-roll Addison when he hit and you're buying into like you're basically making the bet on that was Addison last year. You're selling him for a substantial loss that he was going last. I just don't know what you're doing with this trade. This makes no sense.
If Drake May goes to Minnesota, how you feeling about Addison?
I would feel great about this deal.
I'm still taking him over the 202. This could be Spencer Rattler in Minnesota, and I'm taking him over the 202. Addison, that is.
I think it's close, but I agree. I'll take Addison.
There's so much risk with the pick in this situation. Like I think some people struggle with risk and how they value it. Like that situation, you're just taking on risk. There is upside, but the floor is so much lower than it is with Addison because we know Addison's a good player.
At Halldale Ave, took over an orphan team with no QB other than Fields. Awesome. Won last year. I don't know how you do that. So with a free year going into this year, I feel like this gives me a chance to compete, but allows me to rebuild in the process. So it's an active rebuild here. Baker, Pittman, next year's first and next year's second for Jimmy G, Njoku, Eckler, DJ Moore, and the 112 this year. I want the top side because Yes. I don't know. I like DJ Moore in the 112. Njoku's he's a mid to low end tight end 1. Jimmy G is dead to me, and Austin Eckler maybe has 1 good year left. So I think Pittman alone, this could be a very valuable pick in what looks to be an awesome running back class. Baker way over. This one for me is pretty easily the top side.
Yeah, let's say Pittman and Moore cancel each other out. Let's say that's close enough.
Yeah.
Mayfield 112, sure. So the Njoku package with Eckler and Garoppolo does not equal a first and a second. Like that's the way I'm phrasing this one. So yeah,
it's the quarterback. Jimmy has no value. That's what killed it for me. There's nothing.
There's just I get it. Maybe it's tight end premium. They value Njoku higher or something like that. But and Eckler's just a dart throw, so it's like whatever, right? But yeah, I'll take the top side.
Yeah, 100%.
Any value you'd get in tight end premium from Njoku has to be negated by the value you lose in Superflex going from Baker to Jimmy. I mean, even if you think Eckler has one last run as a top 12 running back, just no. Give me the top side.
And then I would use Baker to like tier up into a quarterback in this class.
I think I prefer, I know it's a random, but I prefer this first rounder over knowing you have the 112. Like this could be anything. I get it. Yes. It could be the 12, but I like that draft class better unless you need a wide receiver than I do this one. And we know this is the last pick. That could be better. So
are you guys at the 109? Is that the spot you're re-rolling for next year? Like a random first next year? Is that your guys' cutoff? That's what mine's at. Yep.
Maybe not. Okay, might be 110.
Definitely
I don't
110.
mind. I'm
Definitely
not too bad. I don't even. I could even be. It's the last two for sure. I could be sold on Troy Franklin, Brian Thomas Jr., or if I really get a favorable landing spot for Wright, Benson, Brooks. So I could be convinced into picking at the 109, 110, but I'm probably out on the last two picks. So I'd be trading the 112.
Specifically, if it looks to be early, like if there's a possibility it's early, like I'll take that for the 109.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think we're in the same range.
And the guy who wins the trade, according to all of us, dramatically increased his odds that 25 first with this deal is going to be on the higher end. So.
Yeah.
All right. Warrior Boomer sent Mike Williams, got Chuba Hubbard. I don't think this deal matters. Williams, I guess. I think Chuba's going to get a replacement. I don't know. Williams, does he have anything left coming off the injury and the age? I don't care either way. I think it's Chuba, but I think Chuba also gets competition in the draft. So I don't know. Maybe you go with running back scarcity, but I don't know. Even when Chuba, I guess Chuba was all right last year. So
yeah.
Chuba?
I mean, they're still paying Miles Sanders contract. Like I don't expect them to put a premium pick into that position, but they could add somebody. But we saw Chuba last year; he was just good and fit the scheme well. So we'll see how it goes with Canales. But like I definitely prefer that over someone coming off a massive leg injury who's approaching age 30, who's been injured their entire career.
Yeah.
All right. Next up from David _Hill 99 salary cap league. Gave up Fields, 4.5% of cap, and Freiermuth. Okay, we're not really going to get into the cap, but Lockett and Wilson combined for 5%. Needed help at wide receiver and have Laporta. So he trades. I hate MFL. He trades Justin Fields and Pat Freiermuth. Fields, Freiermuth, and this year's 203 for Lockett, Wilson, and next year's first.
Yep. Give me the first. Especially in salary cap league, you're saving money. Like you're taking money off, and like the contracts, you can kind of see it. Salary cap leagues are confusing as hell because you have to take that into account like NFL GM. But yeah, I'll do what he's exactly doing right there. I'll use Fields, treat him like a real asset, get him into it first.
I will go with this one here and say dilly, I'm in.
Yep.
And with Freiermuth, I think it's a really good opportunity. If anyone thinks that Russell Wilson, he's going to, feed the tight end and check down. If anyone believes in Pat Freiermuth at this point, just, try and sell him for a late second and see what you can get.
Yeah. We have Jeremy's burner at Fantasy Fool. Sorry. All right. We got Debo, Brees, and next year's second. Oh, and $2. So Debo, Brees, a second next year for the 101. Assuming this is super flex. So it's Caleb for Debo, Brees, and a second next year. I love me some Brees Hall, but I think if this is super flex, you got to take Caleb.
Yeah, that's
Brees, I like Brees a lot, but I got to take Caleb here. Oh, it's a 10-teamer too, half PPR. So it's less valuable for these guys a bit. Oh, no, never mind. I'm rereading up here. 1 QB. So then I don't think it's the 101 side.
That's Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, sorry, I did not see that. So it's Marvin Harrison Jr. or
and
Debo
half PPR
Brees.
as well. Half PPR.
So Harrison or Debo, Brees, and the second next year. I think it's the package for me.
Yeah, 100%. Like the Brees and the 101, like it's very close. You can flip a coin. Someone's throwing you Debo, who's a late round one, and then they're throwing you a second on top of it, and they're like, "Hey, here's $2 in fab in case you want to outbid the rest of the league." Yeah, I'm taking that in 1 QB. Like, the war and everything's gonna be on that side. Like,
I'm glad I seen that. That changed it right there. I did not see half PPR and 1 QB, 10 man. Yeah, that's big difference.
Yeah, Brees.
Yep, Brees side. All right, next up, Dr. Sore Losers. Nick, we have Cousins, Lockett, and Mixon. So an old team. This has got to be contending team for rebuilding team. So Cousins, Lockett, Mixon, Charbonnet, 202, 206. I think even if your plan was to rebuild, I don't think you got enough. I don't know, because he's coming off of an injury. He was still all right, and he's got a new landing spot, might have one good year. I'm not sold on Charbonnet, but these aren't, I don't know. They're not high picks. They're not low picks. I'm torn on this one. I think I'd like the top side personally, but I just feel like you could have gotten more for at least Mixon and Cousins, assuming this is super flex.
Yeah, they're definitely tearing it down. You can see what they're doing. They're getting rid of all their old players. Like it makes sense for both sides, but in a vacuum, I'm taking the players. Like I think I can do more with that than the picks.
Yeah,
like there's just no upside with Cousins.
And the Cousins value right now is surprisingly low for some people. They're very scared about Was it Achilles for him?
Yes.
They're very scary. I forgot because it doesn't matter to me, right? He's going to come back. We don't need Kirk Cousins to run. We need his brain and we need his arm to function at average NFL levels. And assuming that's going to happen, he's going to be feeding these guys in this offense. I love Kirk Cousins as like a high-end QB2 in a super flex league. I think he's going to smash there. Mixon, you get that value. I think it's a massive win for the top side. And if Kirk Cousins does anything at the beginning of the season, you just flip him.
Next up, we've got Tano. He got the CMC side. We have CMC. I hate the way they do trades on these guys. CMC for Dotson, the 108, the 405, and the next year's second. So it's a second next year, the 108, a 405, and Dotson for McCaffrey. I mean, even if you're in an extreme rebuild, this is not enough for Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, like this is probably a type of deal where you put it out to the market, you're moving off from McCaffrey. This is the best deal you get, which is it's an okay deal. It's not the best thing in the world, but there's a lot you can do with it. But yeah, if I'm at all competitive at all, like I want McCaffrey. Like what he does for your team is just massive. Like it's McCaffrey.
Even if you're dead set on rebuilding and he's your only piece, this is why you don't sell veterans now. Wait, hope he doesn't get injured during camp or the first 2 weeks of the season and sell him then for triple the value. You're not getting your money out of McCaffrey right now.
Yeah, there's upside with the 108. Like one of those skill position players could fall to it, or you know what I'm saying? Like there's a way that this works. It's just a narrow window.
Yeah, and we're talking about contending sides or rebuilding sides. I mean, it's also about market value, right? Like I don't have a problem if I'm rebuilding, going out and getting McCaffrey on the cheap and then turning around and reselling him. It's a risky proposition. But, you know, at the end of the season last year, I was able to get Deontay Adams for 2 second-round picks, right? So you never know who in your league is going to be down and out, and they just want to get off these old guys. I'm cool with grabbing those old guys at value and trying to flip them. And, you know, if you're betting on elite talent, give me the talent regardless of team position.
Yeah, like McCaffrey's going right around the 103 in starting value. So like, does the 108 plus a second plus Dotson equal that? No. So like, that's the thing you have to decide. But sometimes, you know, market values, it is what it is in individual leagues.
All right. I'm going to leave this one for last because it's someone with multiple. So we'll go back up to that. This one we have here. Who was this? Sorry. If you follow Matt, this one is Aaron Jones, Mixon, and Lockett for Tank Dell. I think that's got to be another situation of rebuilder versus contender, but give me Tank Dell.
Yeah, like you should have enough depth where you're able to give up those guys, and it's not going to hurt you. Mixon, Lockett, and Jones because none of them are true difference makers. So yeah, if I'm packaging them into Dell, who has the upside scenario shot, like I'll take that. Like that's what I want this now.
Yeah, I agree, but I think we need to just take a second and talk about keep, trade, cut, and trade calculator values here. Because if you punch this, as I just did, into keep, trade, cut, the value is clearly on the Aaron Jones side by over 2,000, right? And we're all here saying take Tank Dell regardless. I think you need to look at keep, trade, cut, and all these other trade calculators as
a joke.
The Dow Jones market. You get fluctuations. It's the daily market trends, but you know, if you're an investor yourself, or maybe you pay somebody to do it, really the secret sauce in figuring out where you should invest is skill-based. It's knowing how to read that market. You shouldn't just look at keep, trade, cut, or all these other things as face value. You need to be able to read it, to kind of prognosticate into the future where the value is going to go, and then figure out how you can not only add to your portfolio of players on your team, but also be able to, extract that value later on.
And that's the problem with those trade calculators. I can go in and offer you 50 players worth $10. It doesn't mean they're worth more than CeeDee Lamb, who's worth $100. It just means I gave you a whole pile of pennies for your best player. It doesn't mean shit. So
it's a tool. You can use it to your advantage 100%.
That's how the stock market crashed in 2008, right?
This one,
they made movies about that.
Overvaluing those loans, baby.
Chris Lawson. This one I think is an overreaction for Rashee Rice. We have the 202 or Rice. Give me Rice handily. I know, Jeremy, you said you're not all that high on Rice, but I will take Rice.
It's close. It's close for me. I just think they add somebody, an elite guy at wide receiver over there. And they already have Hollywood, right? So if they draft a wide receiver in the second round, I assume they have a second round pick, and I assume it's super late.
Who would it be? The 202 could be his teammate that they draft. What you're saying
For
here?
real, 100%.
Yeah, and it could,
A.D. Mitchell, Xavier Worthy.
it
Yeah,
could
they need
cap
somebody
us out.
that they're going to get someone that's going to stretch the field. That's who they're going to draft. So they're going to draft someone like that. Brian Thomas, he's probably not going to be there, but any one of those deep threats that's, speed guy. Troy Franklin, another good guy. Like, they can get one of those guys on this roster. We saw what Rice did. Like, it's really hard to match that.
Yeah. Next up, Big Ol' Ben 73. We've got another one with multiples here. Actually, we're going to skip that one. We'll come back to the two guys who are multiples. We'll come back to those. Here we've got RORYD.
Oh, yeah.
We got Burrow, the 107, and the 105, 107, and Burrow for Allen and Waddle. I think Allen's a significant upgrade, but I'd take the 105 and 107 over Waddle. This one has me torn. I think I'm taking the Burrow side, but I don't really know. What do you guys think?
I'm taking the Allen and Waddle side.
You do love you some Allen, that's for sure.
He's the biggest difference maker you can get. Like, that's the whole thing with it. And then Waddle's a really good wide receiver, and we see that.
Yep.
So say Waddle's the 105 or 107, whatever you want. Burrow plus the 105, like, you gotta give me more of that for Allen. Like, that's the whole thing. And especially like if it's a 10 team where the value shifts even more to the players, like, I would go that. But I always want the difference maker, so like I'm always gonna come out there.
Yeah. I'm going Burrow. It's close, but I'm going the Burrow side. He's just, I think he's right there. We obviously had the injury. He's got one of the best wide receivers in the game tied to him since basically he came out of high school, right? So yeah, give me the Burrow side. Yeah. Allen, I think, takes a slight dip, but yeah, it's not going to be much.
I think this is the most even one we've seen, and this comes down to pick your player. If you're a Burrow Allen guy, how you feel about the rookies. I think this one comes down to personal preference, but I said Burrow too. So
yep.
Okay, let's go back up to. We started with this one, so let's go with this one. We've got Fick and Chucker. Anyways, bigger one here. We've got Goff, Ayuk, ETN. Is this a Ron Burgundy thing where they're just getting me to read stupid names? Is that what's going on here? Okay, sorry. Goff, Ayuk, ETN. Then we have this year the 206, the 310. Next year's first for Nico, Stroud, and this year's 304. So I like the player side on this one of Stroud and Nico over Goff, ETN, and Ayuk. And then I like the picks on this side. I don't know this one. I think I go Stroud and Nico. Yeah. How about you guys? It's close. Oh, maybe.
Yeah,
it's close.
Like, this is the cost you have to pay to get into the elite tier of quarterbacks with Stroud. Like, Goff is severely capped as far as the market value. So, like, he's never going to be worth more than the late first. Like, we'll say he's that. Like, you can cancel this out with Nico and Ayuk. Just take them off the board. Like, is anybody going to take Goff, ETN, a first and some change for Stroud in the 304? Personally, like, I just want Stroud. Like, that's a much easier consolidation. You have that, you lock it in, and there's more things you can do with it. So I'm taking the Stroud side.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is Brandon Ayuk's value, I think, is heavily insulated. So he's going to be someone that you can turn around and flip to a first to half the people in your league right away who still believe in him. And he's a great wide receiver. I think he was like wide receiver 14 last year or something ridiculous. Jared Goff, I think, is perennially undervalued as a fantasy quarterback. And the thing that we have here right now is Detroit is just hitting their prime. Jahmyr Gibbs in the backfield. We've got Sam Laporta. We've got a field stretcher and Jameson Williams who's staying on the field. I don't think he's fantasy viable, but he's going to help Jared Goff. So I'm torn with this one. As much as I love CJ Stroud, I will take the Stroud side, but I don't mind the other side at all.
All right. We still got two more of this, guys, and then the other multi one. So we got to kind of be quick. I've got about 12 minutes. So, oh my God, why are these trades so big?
Yes, love it.
Cousins, Kelsey, St. Brown, a second next year, a second in 2026 for Stafford, Kittle, Kyler, Nico, Melton, and the third. Quarterbacks are kind of a wash. You get the second quarterback here, which helps. I think for me, assuming this is super flex, I take this side because you get the second quarterback and Nico. I think Nico's obviously a downgrade from St. Brown, but
yeah, like the way I'm looking at this deal is Kyler and St. Brown are very similar startup values. So like say let's remove those guys off the board. Like I definitely prefer Nico to anyone on that package. And then you get Kittle, who's a younger like tight end than Kittle, so you have that age factor. And then you get Stafford too. Like him and Cousins, it's gonna be fine. So I want the elite quarterback. I'm getting a good wide receiver. I'm getting younger. Like I'll take the bottom package.
I get that, but like the elite Amon-Ra, production, weekly production that he provides, again, I believe in Kirk Cousins this season. Travis Kelce's got a year left. You're going for the championship, I think, and then you have Amon-Ra to insulate you long term. I'm not down on Kyler. I get it. Kyler Nico is a nice return, but I'm going to go with Amon-Ra.
Yeah, that's a fun deal.
I'm almost afraid to hit the arrow to see how many players are involved in the third trade.
I like these big deals because you can consolidate and you can kind of, we're talking about overwhelm other managers, and you throw a lot of things at people where they struggle to value them. So like going that way with deals is a good way to go.
So Dak and Devontae so this is one side going for it, one side rebuilding. But so we've got Devontae. I think Devontae and Godwin's a wash for me. And then it goes to Dak for
that's such a cheap Dak.
205, 206, a first in 2025 and a second in 2025. I think I prefer the Godwin side. So you're getting a first and 3 seconds for Dak. I think that's more than enough to get Dak off my roster. I think I'd take the rebuilding side here. Godwin side, that is. You guys?
I mean, yeah, you better be rebuilding if you're doing this deal, because otherwise, like you're selling Dak really cheap, and like I think this is a contender that's trying to get their.
You think a first, and I get they're not all this year's picks, but you think a first in 3 seconds is cheap for Dak?
I don't think it's cheap.
Yeah,
I think it's. I don't. I think it's at least fair price.
I think he's worth 2 firsts, like to get Dak, and like we saw what he did last year. Dude was a stud, and he should do it again this year. So I get it. He's kind of in that in between range. So if you view him as less than like 2 firsts, then yeah, for sure take that side. But I like getting Dak as your QB2 on your roster.
Yeah,
like he's a difference maker.
This is the Jesse Moeller, Devontae Adams love shining through. Who's in? Give me someone who's in the Devontae Adams tier. DK
Calvin Ridley.
Who's in the Devontae Adams tier for Dynasty?
It's like Mike Evans, Debo Samuel, Stephon Diggs.
Turn this into Mike Evans. Mike Evans and Dak Prescott for this deal. You still want the Evans Prescott side?
Sure. Yeah. No, like I don't mind paying this price for Dak. So if we take out Godwin and Adams, I'm just looking at that price. Like I'm fine paying this price for Dak.
Okay.
Like it's 2 mid-seconds that we don't know where that second's going to be. So like if I can ever do that with multiple seconds to treat it as a first, like I always love doing that because then you're consolidating, right, and getting better assets. So that's kind of one of my go-to strategies.
How many quarterbacks who are drafted this year do you think end up ahead of Dak after year 1?
I would say probably at least two. At least two. Yeah. There might be a third. It depends on how they hit. Like it's so tough with those guys, right? Like we'll talk about the New England and Washington. Like those landing spots are difficult. So
true. That's true.
You know, yeah, they'll start out above him for sure. Like they'll probably be 2 or 3 of those guys above him.
All right, last person here. Who was this? This was where is it? Big old Ben 73. He's got 2 trades though. Looks like they're smaller. At first, this looked like a lot, but it's Hawkinson for Samuel, Keaton Mitchell, a 402 and the 112. I would have said before the injury, this one was easily Hawkinson, but Hawkinson, I don't think the 402 means nothing to me. I don't think much of either of these two. They're meh to me. So it comes down to, do you want the 112 or Hawkinson? I might cash out on Hawkinson here and take the 112. And I'm not high on the 112, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah. If you need to move him, like getting a first for him is totally fine because you can pivot that into whatever, or you can get a player with more upside than Hawkinson because his value is still going to crater as we get closer to the season. Like it's going to go down. He's not going to play. People are going to get frustrated. So yeah, I'm fine with this deal. Taking the package.
Yeah, give me the package. As I always say.
All right. St. Brown for Rice in the 107. Give me St. Brown all day.
Oh yeah.
You just remove the risk and you get stud. So yeah, Amon-Ra.
I don't care who. Like this would be what QB3, wide receiver 3 in the class, and Rice. I'm St. Brown.
Yeah, Odunze, Bowers, any one of those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's straight up. I don't think there's a wide receiver in this class. Even Harrison Jr. I wouldn't give him I wouldn't trade up St. Brown for him. I'd take St. Brown over any of these guys. I think I'd take St. Brown over anyone in this class, with the exception if Superflex, maybe Caleb Williams. That one's close for me, but St. Brown's too valuable. I'm taking him all day in this.
Where's St. Brown in your dynasty rankings?
Wide receiver.
He's my 6.
I have him back to back with Puka. I go back and forth on 4 and 5 between those guys just because
I have him last I checked CD's my number 1. I think I moved Jefferson. He's either 3 or 4. I know I have Chase at 2. It's either St. Brown and then Jefferson. It might be St. Brown and Jefferson. So I think I have him at 3, but it could be 4.
Yeah, so you got a locked in top 6, right?
Yeah, you can make a case for him to be tier 1 if you really wanted to. Like Amon-Ra's been awesome.
Yeah.
The only one I can't, I could bump him up to 2. I won't bump him up above CD, but I could see taking him over Chase. But for now, he's my 3, I think. So
yeah, that's it.
And he could go back down to 4 depending on what the quarterback situation in Minnesota looks like. So, all right, I believe that is our last one. So thank you all for tuning into a rather long trade debate show. Head over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com to check out our website. Subscribe to us and, like, comment, all that on every social media. We're on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere. We are everywhere. Reddit. We are even on Reddit, as frustrating as that is. So like and subscribe and comment. It would help us and we appreciate it. Like I said, we did our best I think we responded to all 32 trade questions. We do our best to get to every comment. Check back tomorrow where we start our divisional superlatives, crowning the best player in each division at each position. I believe tomorrow we are NFC East or AFC East. NFC East probably. So check back tomorrow at noon. For Aaron, Jesse, and Jeremy, thank you for watching the Fantasy Football Universe. Take care and have a great day.